Welcome back to our channel, where we gather to discuss the latest twists, turns, and heart-stopping moments from the shows we love. A heated argument erupts in the April 21st episode of Beyond the Gates, and that won't surprise you. Despite Nicole and Vanessa's best efforts to mend their fractured friendship, Nicole still seeks out Joey, and it looks like this conversation won't be entirely pleasant. Here's a summary of what will happen on Tuesday. Nicole confronts Joey after a disastrous double date, potentially damaging her fragile friendship with Vanessa. Will a second confrontation lead to a series of tragic events? Martin confides in Vernon as doubts about his past threaten his latest political ambitions. Tomas uncovers new intelligence, forcing Haley to find a way to mitigate the consequences, as secrets are increasingly at risk of being exposed. The fallout from one of the most disastrous double dates in recent television memory continues to send shockwaves through Fairmont Crest, leaving a trail of bruised egos, fractured trust, and deeply unsettling questions in its wake. At the very center of this emotional wreckage are Vanessa and Nicole, two women whose friendship has weathered countless storms over the years. They have stood by each other through thick and thin, sharing a bond that many viewers deeply understand and cherish. Yet, this lifelong sisterhood is currently hanging by the thinnest of threads, stretched to its absolute breaking point by the presence of Vanessa's new boyfriend, Joey. Following the sheer horror of that fateful evening, both Vanessa and Nicole have tentatively agreed to try and salvage their relationship. However, the path to healing is never simple when a master manipulator is standing squarely in the way, blocking the light and casting long, dark shadows over everything they hold dear. Driven by a fierce, protective love for her best friend, Nicole takes a bold and incredibly dangerous step this Tuesday. She actively seeks out Joey for what promises to be an intensely fraught and utterly explosive confrontation. For those of us watching at home, this clash feels entirely inevitable. Nicole is not the type of woman to sit idly by while someone she loves is systematically torn down or isolated. She marches into this meeting with her heart on her sleeve and a demand for accountability on her lips. But Joey, true to his deeply concerning nature, is ready for her. He meets her fiery indignation with a chillingly calm demeanor, insisting with a straight face that he absolutely does not want Vanessa to lose her friends or her established life in Fairmont Crest. He even goes so far as to casually brush off the entire situation, claiming he simply does not care what other people think of him. But we must pause and look closely at the glaring contradictions in Joey's defense. If he truly did not care about the opinions of others, and if he genuinely respected Vanessa's inner circle, he would never have launched such a vicious, unprovoked attack during the double date in the first place. We all witnessed the sheer cruelty with which he insulted Nicole's family and openly belittled Carlton's hard-earned career. Those were not the actions of a man who is secure in himself or supportive of his partner's life. They were the calculated strikes of a predator testing the fences. Now Joey has supposedly assured Vanessa that she will never have to endure another double date with him and her friends. On the surface, to a woman blinded by new love, this might sound like a compromise. But to those of us who have lived long enough to recognize the subtle, insidious signs of control, this is a massive, glaring red flag. By removing himself from her social gatherings, he is quietly and effectively forcing Vanessa to choose between spending time with him or spending time with her support system. This brings us to the terrifying realization that isolating Vanessa from her old life might have been Joey's grand plan from the very beginning. Abusers and manipulators thrive in a vacuum. They need their victims to be cut off from the voices of reason, from the friends who will point out the warning signs, and from the family members who will offer a safe harbor. By pushing Nicole away, Joey is systematically dismantling Vanessa's defenses. When Nicole walks into that room on Tuesday, she's armed with nothing but good intentions and a desperate desire to protect her friend. But in the twisted, upside-down world of a manipulator, good intentions are easily weaponized. As this tense debate unfolds, we have to wonder if Nicole will finally see through the smoke and mirrors. Will this confrontation be the moment she fully realizes the sheer depths of Joey's dark, isolating agenda? More importantly, will she be able to gather any concrete, undeniable proof of his manipulation? Without hard evidence, Nicole is walking into a trap. Joey is incredibly skilled at twisting narratives. It is highly likely that he will use this very meeting to paint Nicole as the aggressor. He will likely go back to Vanessa, playing the victim, sighing heavily and recounting how her crazy, unsupportive friend hunted him down to harass him. He will skillfully position himself as the wounded party who is only trying to love Vanessa, while casting Nicole as the jealous, bitter obstacle to their happiness. If Vanessa discovers that this confrontation took place, the emotional fallout will be catastrophic. Imagine the scene. Vanessa, already emotionally exhausted, hearing Joey's carefully curated version of events where he claims he just wants her to keep her friends, followed by his sorrowful admission that Nicole simply will not allow it. Will Vanessa's deep-seated loyalty to Nicole win out, or will she succumb to the romantic illusion Joey has spun around her? The tragic reality is that this misunderstanding could be the final nail in the coffin of their friendship. It could be the exact catalyst that causes Vanessa to completely cut ties with Nicole, playing perfectly into Joey's hands and leaving her entirely alone with him. There is also the tantalizing possibility that the sheer heat of the argument between Nicole and Joey might cause his carefully constructed mask to slip. In a moment of genuine anger, could Joey accidentally reveal a deeply held secret? Could a piece of his hidden past or his true, malicious intentions spill out in the heat of the moment? If Vanessa were to overhear this, or if the secret is so explosive that it cannot be contained, her reaction would be the turning point of the entire season. She would suddenly find herself standing at the most painful crossroads of her life, forced to choose between the comfortable, trusted history she shares with Nicole and the intoxicating, yet deeply dangerous, pull of the man she thought she loved. The emotional weight of this decision cannot be overstated, as it will define the trajectory of her life for years to come. Meanwhile, the heavy, suffocating burden of legacy and ambition is threatening to crush another prominent resident of Fairmont Crest. Martin, a man driven by a seemingly unquenchable thirst for power and validation, is once again feeling the familiar, intoxicating pull of the political arena. We all remember the heartbreak and the intense family drama of last year, when Martin was fully prepared to launch a campaign for the presidency. It was a dream he had nurtured for years, only to have it violently ripped away by his own flesh and blood. His family, acting out of a desperate need for self-preservation, intervened and forced him to abandon the run. They knew that the dark secrets of his past, coupled with a highly sensitive and dangerous recent cover-up, would never survive the brutal, microscopic scrutiny of a national election. Yet, ambition is a fire that is not easily extinguished. This year, Martin has lowered his sights slightly, but his hunger remains ravenous. He now wants to run for the Senate, desperately hoping to step into the massive, intimidating shoes of his grandfather, Vernon. He wants to reclaim the family name and prove his worth on the public stage. But the ghosts of the past are not banished simply because one changes the office they are running for. The same old, terrifying problems are still lurking in the shadows, waiting for the worst possible moment to strike. The anxiety of this reality is eating Martin alive. We are about to witness a profoundly emotional and heavy conversation as Martin finally breaks down and confides in his grandfather. Watching a proud man admit his deepest fears is always a moving experience. Martin is terrified that his past mistakes will not only destroy his own political future, but will also drag the entire family name through the mud. How will Vernon, the seasoned patriarch who has spent a lifetime building and protecting this legacy, react to his grandson's confession? Will he offer unconditional support, or will he lay down the harsh, unforgiving realities of political survival? The mystery surrounding Martin's past actions and this infamous recent cover-up is a ticking time bomb. What exactly did he do? Who was hurt? And more importantly, who else knows about it? In the ruthless world of politics, secrets are currency, And there is undoubtedly an unexpected figure, perhaps a bitter political rival with an axe to grind. Or an old acquaintance holding a long-standing grudge who is just waiting for Martin to announce his candidacy before dropping the hammer. If this explosive information is used to sabotage Martin right as he prepares for his Senate run, the collateral damage will be immense. Vernon, despite his years of careful maneuvering, could find himself facing the severe consequences of family secrets he helped bury. Furthermore, we must consider the role of Belle in this unfolding tragedy. Belle has clearly seen the writing on the wall and has issued a stern warning to Martin. But will this warning be enough to snap Martin out of his ambitious delusion? Will the harsh light of reality force him to abandon his campaign? Or will his pride push him to roll the dice, risking the entire family's destruction in a desperate bid for glory? The tension is palpable, and the stakes have never been higher for the men of this family. As if the interpersonal drama and political machinations were not enough to keep the town on edge, a dark and chilling mystery continues to cast a pall over everyone. The saga of the missing Lynette is far from over. In fact, it is rapidly becoming the most urgent and dangerous storyline in Fairmont Crest. Even in her absence, Lynette's presence is felt in every whispered conversation and every nervous glance. Belle, acting with a quiet, terrifying authority, has recently tasked Tomas with a mission of the utmost importance: to dig deep into the hidden corners of Lynette's story and find out what truly happened to her. Tomas is relentless, and his investigation is about to yield massive results. He has suddenly come into possession of new, groundbreaking information about Lynette, a discovery that threatens to blow the entire mystery wide open. This sudden breakthrough is the absolute worst-case scenario for Haley. For reasons that are deeply hidden and incredibly dangerous, Haley has a profound connection to Lynette. A tie so strong and so potentially ruinous that she has been praying no one would ever uncover it. But secrets have a way of clawing their way to the surface, and this Tuesday, Haley is thrown into a state of sheer, unadulterated panic. We will watch her desperately scrambling to cover her tracks, her movements fueled by pure terror. The lengths a person will go to when their entire life is on the line are truly frightening to behold. Is Haley's frantic cleanup directly related to the specific clues Tomas has just unearthed? Or is the web of deception so vast that she is forced to handle the fallout on an entirely different front, putting out fires before they consume her? The nature of this crucial new information found by Tomas is the question on everyone's lips. What exactly has he discovered in the dark corners of this investigation? Is it a definitive piece of evidence, perhaps a photograph or a financial record, proving that Lynette is actually still alive, orchestrating a massive deception from the shadows? Or, far more tragically, has Tomas stumbled upon a chilling confession, a bloody piece of clothing, or a hidden grave that finally confirms her gruesome death and points a steady, accusing finger straight at her killer? When Bill receives this information, his reaction will be telling. Will he be genuinely shocked and devastated by the horrific truth, or does he know more than he is letting on? We must ask ourselves if Bill's demand for this investigation was born out of a genuine desire for justice, or if he has a much darker, entirely self-serving ulterior motive for wanting to control the narrative surrounding Lynette's fate. The tapestry of secrets, lies, and desperate ambitions currently blanketing Fairmont Crest is thicker and more suffocating than ever before. From the quiet, psychological warfare being waged in Vanessa's living room to the high-stakes political gambling in Martin's office, and the frantic, terrifying cover-ups happening in the dead of night by Haley, every single character is standing on the edge of a precipice. The emotional toll of these impending collisions will be monumental, forever altering the landscape of their lives and leaving viewers breathless as we wait to see who will survive the fall and who will be shattered on the rocks below.